Blizzard Entertainment with that sound, which used to get me so hyped. This is going to be something huge. I'm certainly excited about it. This cutscene may be familiar to some of those of you who were gaming in the early to mid 90s. More honestly, mid to late 90s, but I was a child then. I played this game a lot in my childhood. It had a tremendous influence on me, both positive and negative. It certainly set me out to have a high watermark, a fairly impressive high watermark for quality in video games. As we get closer and closer to this heap of bodies, and see the flapping of paint-flecked window blinds, model of an adventurer, a corpse in the corner. Given the age of these animations, I think they stand up remarkably well, although the scan lines will show more in the video than I think they do here. Honestly, that 3D modeling animation, not bad. As the music begins to grow in the background, we see more and more terrifying things. This is here to raise the tension and get you invested in this gothic RPG world. Of demons and suffering and death. And that. Here we are. Diablo. No 1, no 2, no 3, just Diablo. Which eventually went on to be one of the flagship products of Blizzard Entertainment. One of their ongoing series, I think that's the right word there, a series of games. There's a lot that was changed, there's a lot that remained the same. That entire introductory cutscene was not touched after the demo and before the finished product. Let's start a new game. We can't play as the rogue, we can't play as the sorcerer. You can only play as the warrior in the demo. So let's play as the Wario. The Wario. Wario? No. I like the name Demonis, so we're gonna go with that. And that loading screen is familiar to me. It's the way the finished product was. The town map is familiar. It's the same state that it was in when they released the game. We've got these thatched cottages. Another thatched cottage over here. There's the town well. This beautiful kind of granulated, semi-painted, semi-kind of 3D modeled background. It's kind of impressive artwork. But you may be noticing that the town seems a little deserted right now. And you'd be right. Only a handful of NPCs exist. Town NPCs, the NPCs that you would normally find while wandering around here, exist in this demo version. Or so I thought. What are you doing here? Sorry, I've done several tests on this, and in every single one, the pegged leg boy completely failed to appear. What's going on here?
Over here.
Don't have enough gold. Okay, so the pegged leg boy does exist in this version, despite failing to spawn in the last several times I tried to do this description. Fascinating! I'm glad I had to do it again now. You may have already noticed several differences aside from some of the NPCs not being here, at least most of the time.
Over here.
If you played the original Diablo, you no doubt noticed that that voice clip is not the one that they went with Wort in the end version of the game. You also notice that I don't really start with any gold. It's a feature of this version. I do start with the standard short sword and buckler. You'll also notice that people don't have names yet. The pegged leg boy is not called Word yet. There's an auto map, but it's not available in town. That's not changed. Normally there would be a growth of rocks here up into a large stone surface larger than myself, so that eventually that could be a tunnel leading down. It's not there yet. That hasn't been added to the game. The inventory screen is over here. We don't have a belt on top of the display function here. Everything that I look at, well, everything that I look at is in all caps in the finished game too. The skill over here, that seems more or less the same. Cain is missing. We've got Griswold the Blacksmith. I remember his name from the original. Griswold the Blacksmith, and we've got Ogden the Tavern Keeper, here just called Blacksmith and Tavern Owner, and they will greet me with their own voice clips, so let's hear those. Ogden has always been the one to kind of greet you and let you know what's going on. Let's see what he has to say.
Thank goodness you returned. Much has changed since you lived here, my friend. All was peaceful until the Dark Riders came and destroyed our village. Many were cut down where they stood. Those who took up arms were slain or dragged away to become slaves. Or worse. The church at the edge of town has been desecrated and is being used for dark rituals. The screams that echo in the night are inhuman, but some of our townsfolk may yet survive. Follow the path that lies between my tavern and the blacksmith shop to find the church, and save who you can. Perhaps I can tell you more if we speak again. Good luck.
Now, in the case of Ogden and Word, the introductory speech that they give and the voice clip that they give is the same words, but it's not voice acted very well. It's very, very amateurish performance, although I get the feeling that they may have given these voice clips to the people who did the professional voice acting as a guide, to tell them kind of like, do it like this.
What can I do for you?
Griswold sounds entirely different, though. This Griswold is... his voice is deeper, more aggressive, much less Scottish. Adria, the witch, also exists over here. She's the only other NPC that I have managed to come across. Jillian the barmaid and Pepin the healer are not there. Neither is Cain. And neither had Word been any of the other times that I started up the game. Who knows, maybe Adria will be missing. And if you're waiting to hear how badly some unprofessional voice actor can say, "I sense a soul in search of answers,"
What do you see?
you might be disappointed. On the other hand,
What do you seek?
there are probably some people who wish we'd gotten that voice clip instead. And Adria over here handles the healing potions and mana potions because Pepin is not implemented yet. But I have no money, because in this version I don't start with any money. And the inventory is over here. As I mentioned, the character sheet is over here. And it might be slightly rearranged, although it is mostly the same. The quest log is embedded in the character sheet, for some reason. There's skill buttons. There's a select current item button, apparently, but I have no idea what that does, to be honest. And there's some multiplayer messaging functions, but they're not implemented. Now, one more thing. I'm going to step back in and click on Tavern Owner again, because he does have something else to say.
Continue on your quest, my friend. Only the destruction of the evil that binds us can bring us peace.
Now, I'm actually quite entertained by that.
Continue on your quest, my friend. Only the destruction of
Huh.
the evil that binds us can bring us peace. Continue on your quest, my...
Alright. So that's not as stable as you might expect it to be. I don't get a conversation menu with him, apparently. He just tells me to keep going. Which I don't think ever made it into the finished game, because then you got a menu, you got a dialogue menu. And of course we have the wounded townsman who begins the butcher quest for us.
Please help. I barely escaped from the butcher.
Those ellipses,
Killed
though.
my wife, my children. I beg of you, in the name of God, avenge them.
I mean, the idea, it clearly makes sense. This is also the one text crawl that I've found that isn't voiced. It's just a text crawl, because apparently we needed to be told that. In the finished version, of course, your character would promise the dead man that his death would be avenged. I'm going to leave that here for now, and return to it next time. Of course, also, since it's a pre-release demo, we get all these frames of advertisement at the end to try to convince you to buy the full game. And why not? It really was a fantastic experience for its time, if you like that grim, gritty, descend into the depths of hell and watch the townsfolk around you lose their minds kind of feel. The Ogden that we got in the end seemed perhaps a little more humble. Everybody seemed a little bit more human. Lots of nifty stuff. You can click through it. Next time, we enter the dungeon and see where the differences continue.